Hello! I know everyone wants to travel around the world, to taste the different delicious food, to see the beautiful places, and to know and understand the different cultures and beliefs of people in the country. Are you excited for that? Yeah, I am excited too. And let's hold your breath, relax, and enjoy our video presentation.
But baby, you will know me. Baby, you will know.
Once again, how are you today? Before we are moving forward, I have some picture to guess in you what is the meaning of this as part of your motivation and as well as to know your background knowledge. First, can you guess what word described for these four pictures? Yes, you are correct. That is called the word Confucianism. Next, the second picture is like this. Can you guess what word described for these four pictures? Yes, you are correct. That is called Taoism. Next, the last four picture. Can you guess what describe about this? Yes, exactly. You are correct. That is called Buddhism. Did you enjoy the game? Well, I hope you learned some religion among those pictures presented a while ago. And now we will move forward and to know everything in our video presentation. And now, our topic for today is all about the self in Western and Eastern thought. But before we move forward, let us identify first what is the meaning of self and where we can find the Western, Eastern, and what their different philosophy thought about understanding the self. And what is self? When we say self, it is defined as the total being of a person, awareness of the individual or the qualities of the human being. And where we can find the Western world and Eastern world. So, Eastern world includes Asia and the Middle East, while the Western world includes South and North America, European countries, New Zealand, and Australia. The East and West have many differences based on their culture, which is reflected in the people's attitude and behavior. So the intended learning outcomes at the end of the video presentation, you should able to differentiate the concept of the self according to Western thought and Eastern perspective, and also to explain the concept of self as found in Asian thought. And what is the difference between Western and Eastern philosophy? Western philosophy is mainly used in the western parts of the world, such as in the European countries, while the Eastern philosophy is prevalent in Asia countries. Western philosophy deals with individualism, and philosophy related to Eastern is called collectivism. Both philosophies center on virtues. And now we will move forward to understand more about the Eastern philosophy.
Hi, are you ready to learn about Eastern philosophy? I know that you are ready. If you are, let's come with me and to travel in the East to learn about true nature of word in the Eastern philosophy. Now, we are here now in Eastern philosophy. In Eastern philosophy, there are three main philosophical thoughts in Asian culture. There are Confucianism, Taoism, and the Buddhism. Now, let's talk about the first one, the Confucianism. Confucianism, this is the philosophy founded by Confucius. So, this Confucianism is actually the code of ethical contents focused on having a harmonious social life. According to Confucius, for you to have harmonious social life, you should be able to share your identity with state of your community or your society. The main idea of Confucianism is having a good moral character which can affect the world around person through idea of cosmic harmony. So, this moral character is achieved through the virtue of Ren or the humanity, which leads to more virtuous behaviors such as respect, altruism, and humanity. In Confucianism, it has a golden rule. This is the do not do unto other what you would not want other to do unto you. That is all about Confucianism. Now, let's go to the second philosophical thought of Asian culture, the Taoism. Taoism is the living in the way of Tao or the universe. Taoism is a religious or philosophical tradition which emphasizes living harmony with the Tao or the way. Taoism is a hierarchical view of self, society, or cosmos. The self is one of the countless manifestations of the Tao. It is an extension of the cosmos. Tao is denotes the principle that is the source, pattern, and substance of everything that exists. Wisdom is ideal self, which balance of life with society and the nature. Ideal self is a selfless, but that selfish, you didn't forget yourself. You should consider your balanced life with society and nature. Always remember that in Taoism, you're not only thinking yourself, but your society. And now, let's talk about the third philosophical thought of Asian culture in Eastern philosophy, the Buddhism. Buddhism. Buddhism is the self-illusion of ignorance of the source of all sufferings. The goal of Buddhism is to attain the state of nirvana or enlightenment of the states of happiness. So far, Buddhism has many versions, but the common them is the self is an illusion born out of ignorance. It is also the source of all suffering. The original Buddhists used the word Buddhi, which means awake. The Buddha taught that an individual is a combination of five aggregates of existence, also called the five skandhas or the five hips: the form, sensation, perception, the mental formation, and the consciousness. First five skandhas is the form. Form is our physical formation. The second is the sensation. It's made up of feelings, both emotional and physical, and our senses. The third is the perception. Perception means this is our thinking in the conceptualization, cognitive, and reasoning. The fourth is the mental formation. This includes our habit, prejudices, and predisposition, also the violation or willfulness. The lastly, 5, consciousness. This is our awareness or sensitivity to an object but without conceptualization.
Hi class, let's talk about the concept of the self according to the Western thought perspective. What is Western philosophy? But before that, let's define first what is philosophy. Generally, Philosophy is the study of wisdom, of knowledge about the general problems, facts, and situations connected with human existence, values, reasons, in general reality. So, Western philosophy is from Europe and Northern America. About philosophical perspective of the self and Western philosophy is actually they do not include the role of environment in society. Their focus is always looking toward the self. It's individualistic because they much emphasis on values of equality and promote idea of fair competition. Western cultures allow people to be more open and critical. They are more free to reach decisions on his or her own, unlike Eastern culture where the elders make more decisions for their children. Since Western philosophies look at the world of dualities, they are distinct from other person and there is a divine God. They believe that Creator is separate from the object He created because the Creator is the Master. Everything belongs to Him and nobody will exist without Him. So, since Western philosophy is individualistic, let's talk about individualism. Individualism is broadly conceived as the view of individual human being as self-man-made. This view valorizes the individual as independent and autonomous. Attitudes have become individualistic. The moral stance, political philosophy, ideology, and social outlook that emphasize the intrinsic worth of the individual. The school of thought of Western culture is from Greek philosophy. And since Westerners are from Europe and Northern America, it roots from Rome and Christianity, specifically the Judeo-Christianity. Considering Western cultures are more Latin, they focus on ethics and their main principle is self-dedication. Here naman, they want to service others to the point that their life is focused on service to God and service to community. Western society strives to find and prove the truth and put more stock in individual rights. It is because of Christian influence. They believe that there is a beginning and to find meaning in everything that happened on the self. Since Western philosophy is individualistic, it is more focusing on development of the self.
Hi, I am Nicole D. Del Rosario, and I'm discussing the Eastern philosophy's collectivism. But first, I have to ask two questions which are, did you know what part of the globe is called East? And are you familiar with the countries that belong to the eastern part of the globe? And if you know what part of the globe is called East, and the countries belongs to the eastern part, let's proceed to the topic which is Eastern philosophy collectivism. Now, let's talk about Eastern philosophy concept. Its concept is people try to rid themselves of the false self or false me concept and discover true self in relation to everything around them. Or as a part of a larger scheme, Eastern philosophy is increasingly being incorporated into groups, societies, and people's action and thoughts as whole in order to find everything meaning in life. Now, let's understand the Eastern philosophy collectivism. And now, let's understand the Eastern philosophy collectivism. But first, we have to define what is collectivism in order for us to understand what is Eastern philosophy collectivism. So the word collectivism describes a society in which has a strong social and individual relationships and mere members of a strong cohesive groupings. Now that we have understand the word collectivism, let's proceed to the main topic, which is Eastern philosophy's collectivism. So what is Eastern philosophy collectivism? Eastern philosophy encompasses a wide range of ideologies from the East, especially Asia, which includes China, India, and Japan. Although Eastern philosophy arose independently of Western and Islamic thought, it has had significant influence on both in modern times. Eastern philosophy lacks the strict academic tradition that characterized Western thoughts. Eastern philosophy involved three philosophies, which are Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism, or classical Chinese. The main principle of Eastern philosophy collectivism is unity, because they believe unity is the central premise of Eastern philosophy. This cosmological unity is the starting point for life's path toward eternal reality. Life is round, and its recurrence with everything else significant. Dependent is from the within and outside, and ethics is based on actions. To be emancipated, one must first release one's inner self in harmony with the environment around them. The moment of unity is symbolic sense and act of common actions in an essential concept of monotheistic religion, for religion unites people under its auspices and guides towards good-willed actions. Now that we have learned and understand what is the main principle in Eastern philosophy collectivism, let's move on to the values that Eastern philosophy had, which is virtues. Virtues are also important in Eastern philosophy. This can be explained by a selfless attitude towards life. The secret is to be content what one has. Eastern philosophy, on the other hand, is concerned with ethics. Individual must perform what is required of them without causing harm to others. In conclusion, Eastern philosophy focuses in itself and its role in the society. In general, the concept of collectivism is associated with the image of Eastern culture. Individual identities are limited to the groups of identities, with the individual defining himself as a part of a family or a community. Individuals are reliant on their families, localities, and groups as a result of these circumstances. Every individual has a faith in his group's decision, and community trust is extremely strong. Asians tend to be more aware of their ties as members of their social groups, and hence, they tend to be more concerned of the implications of their action and their group members. It's commonly considered
Take me to the place I used to run. Remember the house where I was